I sort of match in terms of the colour. He's been laid at the side of me the entire time that I've been reading my book. It sounds awful, either way. I'm honestly worried for Mrs. Norris right now. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I have another reading vlog for you, and if you watched my last reading vlog then you will know that I am currently reading the Harry Potter series for the very first time. I've never interacted with anything Harry Potter before, like I've never seen the films. It's all brand new to me to an extent, and recently I decided that I was gonna read the book series for the very first time. If you haven't already, be sure to go and watch my last reading vlog, which was me reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But in today's video we're going to be reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which is the second book in the series. I don't really have much to tell you at the beginning of this video because I feel like most of the information that I wanted to share about my thoughts before going into this I said in the previous reading vlog. One thing that I will say is, as of right now, as I'm filming this clip, I have actually already started the book. I am on chapter 4, so I'm not very far into it. Harry is getting ready to return to Hogwarts, although he has been told by Dobby that he shouldn't go back to Hogwarts for some reason, but Harry has decided not to take that advice on board and he is going to be returning to Hogwarts. His friend Ron and his two brothers came to rescue him in the flying car, and the flying car is actually something that I was aware of prior to giving this book series a go. It's one of the things that I have seen a little bit over the years, and it's nice to finally have some context. Also, when I've been speaking to people who have interacted with Harry Potter over the years, like my mum's partner had read these books before, when I mentioned that I am at a point in the series where Dobby has been introduced, the amount of love for Dobby has just been pouring out, so that's intriguing to me. Also, there's a little illustration of Dobby on the back of this book and it's actually really adorable. But yes, I just wanted to sit and introduce this video to you, so now we shall get into the actual reading portion of this vlog. So I have just finished filming an introduction video for this reading vlog that you are watching right now. In comparison to the first book, this one is a little tiny bit longer. I believe Philosopher's Stone was 332 pages, I think it was, and this one is 360, so we have 30 more pages, which I guess is kind of like, you could work it out as like an extra chapter. Oh, it does have an extra chapter. Philosopher's Stone had 17 chapters, this one has 18. So that's that. I mentioned a couple of things in the introduction, but one of the things that I didn't mention is that obviously I have started reading this book, which I did mention, but the thing that I didn't mention is that I did film some clips of me reading the beginning of this book, so I will insert them into the vlog now. So I am currently editing the reading vlog of me reading Philosopher's Stone, and whilst I was waiting for the footage to import onto my computer, I read a little bit more of Chamber of Secrets. I'm still not very far into it because surprisingly it didn't take that long for the footage to upload. I thought it was going to take longer because there was quite a bit. If you haven't watched the other reading vlog, please go and watch it, because as I'm making these I might kind of talk back and forth and it won't really make sense if you haven't watched them. As I was reading the book, I said that Snape is one of those characters that I feel like just isn't going to be all he sounds like. Like, he sounds like this really mean character, but I feel like that's more of a front. And then my point was proven later in the vlog. And I feel like Snape has a connection to Harry in some way. Like, there's some reason that he's taken a lot of interest. I can't remember if it was at the beginning of this book or at the end of Philosopher's Stone. I think it was at the end of Philosopher's Stone where it said that Snape was at Hogwarts with his parents. But I feel like it's not just that, is it? It's not just like, oh, they were in my class and I didn't like them. You know, it's just not that. So I just finished editing the Philosopher's Stone reading vlog, and it was quite interesting to look back at my reactions as I was reading the book. But now I am gonna go home, I'm gonna have something to eat, and then I'm gonna continue on with reading my book. Something that is happening so far in this book that I don't know how it sits with me as of right now. Obviously we're still early days, but the interest that Ron's sister has in Harry, there's just something about that. And I don't know if it's because I've got a brother and I could not imagine being interested in any of my brother's friends. But yeah, I just don't know how that makes me feel. Now we'll just continue on with the reading vlog in real time. I also love the fact that I sort of match in terms of the colour. But yeah, I'm gonna do some more reading. I finished Philosopher's Stone roughly in 24 hours, and it has taken me a little bit longer to read this because I read, was it yesterday or the day before? But again, because of the length of it, I do think I can get it finished in a decent time. Once again, there's something about how Ginny reacts to Harry that I just don't get along with. I'm hoping she reacts like that because he's supposed to be this like famous like wizard. Because like, how old is she? But I know in the first book it said that she wasn't old enough to go to Hogwarts, which means she's younger than 11. There's just something about it that just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. But does it actually progress? Or does it just stay there? Is it just that he's meant to be famous and she's a little bit starstruck? I'm kind of too scared to find out. Okay, so I've just got to the bit where it says that she's starting Hogwarts this year, so she's 11. And they went to Hogwarts last year. Harry would be like 12 in this story, which I always imagined her being way younger than that. Like in the first book when it's like, oh, you're not old enough to go, and like she's the youngest and all this, I imagined her being a lot younger. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Also, would just like to point out I'm sat at my computer desk. My computer's behind you guys. I am sat on the uncomfortable chair. It's like a fold-up chair that I've had for years. Because I don't know if you can see him. My computer chair actually belongs to someone else apparently. Whenever I'm not using my computer, I leave those cushions on there so that he can lay on the chair and be comfortable, because he absolutely loves that computer chair. He's loved it ever since the day that I got it. But it does mean that sometimes when I want it, he wants it. And I'm not willing to move him, so. But I'm going to read a little bit of my book now. I'm coming to sit with him whilst I read more of this book, but you can't see him in this framing, so. Gilderoy Lockhart seems quite arrogant, and that does not give me a good vibe. In case anyone's wondering, he's been laid at the side of me the entire time that I've been reading my book. But I just finished exporting the first reading vlog, and I'll be uploading that probably tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow as you're watching this obviously, but it'll be tomorrow for me right now. I'm on page 68, chapter 5, and the story is starting to pick up, so my 100-page theory is probably going to play out again. For some random reason, I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning, just completely out of the blue, and I was laid scrolling on my phone, and I said to myself, no, I'm not going to scroll on my phone, I'm going to read more of my book. I actually have just updated my Bookstagram. I have a Bookstagram, I don't use it as much as I used to, but every so often I go on and update it. But as I'm filming this right now, the Philosopher's Stone reading vlog hasn't gone up yet. It will have gone up obviously by the time this video goes up, because it'll have been the video before this one. So I made myself a cup of tea in this adorable little mug that my mum got me. And now I'm going to read more of my book. I did actually read a little bit of it last night. Not much. I actually intended to read more than I did. However, I started reading, and this is one of the problems I have with the fact that I like to read on a night, because I read on a night, then I get tired. But I did get an ever so slight bit more of it read. I'm currently on page 90, which is chapter 6, and chapter 6 is Gilderoy Lockhart. I don't remember if I said this in the first reading vlog, but something about me as a reader is I am a chapter to chapter reader. So if I sit down to read, I only like to read if I know I'm going to be able to end a chapter. I don't like to finish in the middle of chapters, because I just feel like my reading is unfinished when I do that. So I am a chapter to chapter reader, so you will notice when I finish and pick up from books at the beginning of a new chapter. So yeah, I'm currently on chapter 6. So I'm going to read more of this now. It's coming up to 9 o'clock. So I'm definitely confirming in my head that Gilderoy Lockhart is very arrogant. I feel like he's going to be up to no good as the new kind of teacher or defense against the dark arts. I think that's what it was. It sounds awful. Either way. Is Gilderoy Lockhart an imposter? Harry, Ron and Hermione are talking about what just happened with the Pixies, and Hermione's saying like, oh, he's done all these things, and Harry's like, but has he? He's saying that he has, but has he? So is he going to turn out to be an imposter and a liar? And another character who's not all that he cracks up to be. There's something quite shifty about this Colin guy. What is his name? The guy who keeps taking pictures. He's called Colin, but I can't remember what his second name is. Colin Creevy, I think is how you say it. There's something shifty about him. And he's also just heard the voice when he was doing detention with Gilderoy Lockhart, but Lockhart said that he couldn't hear it. Is this Voldemort's return? I'm just packing my bag up to go, but a thought that I just want to share in the vlog is, so I'm on page 128 and I am enjoying this book, so I obviously am going to keep reading it. However, I have been kind of tossing and turning in my head about whether I'm enjoying this book as much as I was enjoying Philosopher's Stone. Like, I'm enjoying this, and I definitely think the storyline is about to pick up, but I'm not sure if I'm enjoying this one as much as I was enjoying Philosopher's Stone. They've just found the message on the wall and the cat, and now it's getting interesting. I'm honestly worried for Mrs. Norris right now. I'm very worried. I am currently on chapter 10, page 170, and I'm gonna go and have something to eat. And I think I'm like literally halfway through, so we'll see how much I get read later this evening, and we'll see what I think of it. The funny thing is, actually, I have all of that left, and then all of these pages just have like different Harry Potter related things on them. Dobby was the one who closed the barrier at platform 9 3/4. Oh my god. Dobby was responsible for it all. So they're speculating that he's a dark wizard, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Excuse the lighting, it's starting to get dark, but I am on chapter 12, which is the Polyjuice Potion, and I'm about 100 pages from the end. I'm right. He is the final chapter. So that is it for the reading vlog of Chamber of Secrets. Now I'm going to give you just a little bit of a review and let you know my thoughts. So overall, I gave this book 3 stars, and again, like with the first book, I was quite conflicted as to what I actually wanted to rate this book when I got to the end of it, because I did enjoy reading this book. I thought it was good and it was definitely an enjoyable read. However, I think I preferred Philosopher's Stone a little bit more to this one, which is why I ended up giving it 3 stars. I know there's obviously a reason that the plots in these books come in the order that they do. However, I feel like if this plot had been book 1 and Philosopher's Stone had been book 2, I'd have probably enjoyed it a little bit more. I don't think the plot is necessarily bad, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. However, I just preferred book 1 and the plot of book 1. I did find some elements of this book, particularly at the beginning when certain points are being explained, to be a little bit repetitive of book 1. However, I feel like I'm partly to blame for that, because I feel like it's actually because I read the books so close together. Obviously, when these books were originally being published, there would have been a period of time between them, so it makes sense to kind of remind you of certain elements. However, as someone who is reading the books quite close together, it does feel a little bit repetitive. It did take me a little bit longer to read this one than Philosopher's Stone, but I still got through it in quite a decent time. And I did feel positive when I got to the end of this book. I am definitely still intrigued to keep reading this series and to find out what actually happens. But that is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you liked it. Don't forget to check out the last Harry Potter reading vlog if you haven't seen it already. I will link it in the description box. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of my uploads. There might be something here that you would like to see on a regular basis. You might want to keep up with the rest of the reading vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again in my next video. Bye guys! So today I'm going to be reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.